We all know that the United Nations is expected to be an institution for addressing international problems and defending the rights of its member states in this shrinking world. The Security Council should be inherently and meaningfully a council for security, a body that is entrusted with the important task of maintaining international peace and security. It should be a secure and safe place where the rights of nations are not violated and are fully respected. Can one claim that the Council has performed its immense duty in good faith and as requested by the Charter? The answer is not definitely affirmative. Surely, the overwhelming majority of the members of this organization are seriously concerned about the behavior of the Council that has extensively undermined its integrity and credibility. A question to ponder is, how will the nation's memory recall the behavior of this important organ? A question arises as to why, after all the crimes of the Zionist regime in the Palestinian territories that have shocked the whole world and have been described inter alia as ethnic cleansing, genocide, and war crimes by the international community, the Council has failed to take any effective measures to put an end to these crimes. Why the Council has failed to issue a simple press statement, nor has it been able to pay even a lip service to the issue of Palestinian sufferings in view of the daily Israeli atrocities in the Palestinian territories, particularly in Gaza, that have led to the killing and wounding of hundreds of innocent Palestinian people in the past several weeks. Undoubtedly, the Security Council's previous inaction and silence towards the abhorrent crimes of the Israeli regime has resulted in the current Holocaust that is going on in the Gaza Strip by the Zionist regime. The people of Iran will never forget the inaction of the Security Council vis-à-vis with regard to the Saddam Hussein's attack against Iran on 22 September 1980, the invasion that resulted in an 8-long-year imposed war against Iran with unspeakable sufferings and losses for our nation. This act of aggression did not trouble the same permanent members of the Council who have sought the adoption of the resolution against Iran today. To consider it a threat against international peace and security. Nor did the Security Council for several years bother to deal with the use of chemical weapons by the former Iraqi dictator against Iranian civilians and military personnel, as well as Iraqi Kurds, particularly in Halabja. The chemical weapons that were provided to Saddam Hussein by some of the sponsors and supporters of today's resolution. No amount of explanation would be able to describe the disastrous consequences of this unacceptable behavior of the Security Council. Indeed, these are not the only examples that the Security Council, due to its inherent deficiencies and due to its structure and voting mechanism, has been unable to discharge its responsibilities. That's why the overwhelming majority of the United Nations member states believe that this Security Council must be overhauled. Today, the Council's credibility has been further damaged, or is going to be further damaged, because of the political motives of a few countries. Political motives that have prevented the Council from heeding the judgment of a technical body of the United Nations namely the IAEA, while the IAEA clearly acknowledges that Iran's nuclear program is peaceful. Some countries deliberately undermine the work of the agency that is part of the United Nations. It therefore appears that the Security Council attaches no value even to other UN institutions and bodies. It is no wonder that the Security Council has repeatedly encroached on the mandate and authorities of other UN bodies cannot be trusted to respect the views and the judgment of the other United Nations agencies. Mr. President, the Council's behavior in undermining the credibility and integrity of the agency will only serve the interests of those who prefer to ignore the IAEA, such as the Israeli regime that with hundreds of nuclear warheads in its possession poses the most serious threat to international and regional peace and security. It will also serve the interests of those who have never wished for an agency that is strong and that is independent and impartial. This is truly a serious question. Is it not time for the Council to respect the judgment of an institution that is part of the United Nations system, or to respect the legitimate rights of a great nation with a long history of civilization and peaceful coexistence with other nations? A right that has been recognized by international law and its exercising poses no threat to international peace and security. What the Islamic Republic of Iran is pursuing is the exercising of its right in accordance with the NPT and under the supervision of the IAEA and nothing more. Is this an illegitimate demand? Is this justice to punish a nation that behaves according to the rules and regulations? And finally, Mr. President, the future security of the world depends on how the United Nations, and especially the Security Council, will function in a just and impartial manner. In reality, people across the world have now lost their trust in the Security Council and consider the actions of the Council as the result of political pressure exerted by a few powers to advance their own agendas. This is a compelling issue that the Council must address in order to restore its credibility. In view of all these facts and realities, the legitimate question arises that can the Security Council still be known as a Council for Security, and can it still be regarded as a just, impartial, and credible organ of the United Nations? I leave that judgment to the esteemed members of the United Nations and all fair-minded people around the world. Thank you, Mr. President.